I'm Brian Sparks with West Virginia University Extension Service in Nicholas and Fayette County. And one thing that we want to get over today is fertilizer. What is in a bag of fertilizer? So when we look at our fertilizers, they have different analysis, and most of them will have three what they call macronutrients in them, and that's nitrogen, phosphate, and potassium. Those are your three macronutrients. And you can buy fertilizer in various forms. You can buy them in 5-pound bags, 10-pound bags, 40-pound bags, 50-pound bags is the largest quantity you usually can buy. However, some commercial growers or growers that need a lot of fertilizer to spread on vast areas of land will buy in ton bags. But let's talk about what the nutrients do first. So if we talk about nitrogen, which that's your first number usually on a bag of fertilizer, nitrogen is the fuel that makes the plant grow. And if you look, then the second number is your P, or your phosphorus. Commonly the element letter is P, and phosphorus is it's what helps your plant in maturity. It's helps it to use its energy. So a lot of times the second number, if you're seeing your plants are stunted, that's usually the element that is deficient in it. And your third number is your potassium. This is what helps a plant to resist diseases. It helps do root development. It will help your plant withstand droughts and wet areas. So those are kind of your three macronutrients that are in a bag of fertilizer. So let's look at this bag of fertilizer, for example. If you look here, it says 10, 20, 20. So we have 10 parts of nitrogen, 20 parts of phosphorus, and 20 parts of potassium, or N, P, and K. All right, so if we scroll down here and we look, it's actually the percentage of this bag. This bag weighs 50 pounds, and so it's 10% nitrogen, which means there's only 5 actual pounds of nitrogen in this bag of fertilizer. It's 20% phosphate, or your P, or this one commonly P2O5, which means there's only 10 pounds of actual phosphate in this 50-pound bag of fertilizer. Then if we look at our potash, again, we're looking at a 50-pound bag. There will only be 10 actual pounds of your potash in there. And the rest is inert ingredients. Usually it's limestone or some kind of filler. So this is a misconception sometimes when people buy a bag of fertilizer, that they're getting 10 actual, in a 50-pound bag, they're getting 10 actual pounds of N, 20 pounds of phosphate, and 20 pounds of potash. Remember, it's a percentage of what the bag is. Let's scroll on over to the next bag and let's look. This is a bag of vegetable growers fertilizer. Again, the macronutrients are 10, 10, 10, okay? And that's a percentage. But look down here. This is something that you have to pay attention to. This is a 40-pound bag of fertilizer. So now we have to get our math skills out and figure this out. Again, we're 10% of nitrogen in a 40-pound bag, which is going to be 4 actual pounds, correct? And then we're going to put 10 pounds of the P of a 40-pound bag. We're at 4 pounds. And then again, our last one, our number's 10 again in this one. That's going to be 4 pounds in this. Again, it's a percentage. Now, this bag is a little bit different. I told you, remember, the rest was going to be in that previous bag we looked at was inert materials or some kind of filler. This one actually comes with some other things that are added. And that's why you have to pay attention to the labeling on here. This one actually has some added micronutrients. For instance, it has 2% calcium. It has some magnesium in it, which is 2%. It has some sulfur in it, which is 11.5%, boron, iron, manganese, and zinc. So this one has small percentages in this 40-pound bag, and then a little bit of it will be inert materials also. So you got to pay attention to this bag of fertilizer of what percentage of the different elements that it has in there. Now, let's do a little quick look at this bag of fertilizer here. This is a different analysis. Again, 19, 19, 19, or what we commonly our growers call triple 19 fertilizer. And again, 50-pound bag. Again, look at the percentages. This is 19% nitrogen, 19% phosphate, and 19% potash or potassium. So you got to pay attention. So this 50-pound bag here has no other micronutrients in it. just has those 3 major macronutrients of fertilizer in this bag of fertilizer. So you got to do a little bit of math when you're reading these fertilizer bags, and then again match these back to your soil test recommendations, because they come back in actual pounds of material that are needed when you get your soil test result back. So you've got to figure this out and just not spread fertilizer thinking that you're getting these amount analysis in this particular poundage of your bags that you're buying. You've got percentages. So in a nutshell, that's a little bit about what's in a fertilizer bag and what those nutrients can do for your home, your yard, your garden, or your pasture field, or your hay field, or your crop field. So make sure you pay attention to those fertilizer bags and get the right amount on, and make sure you're buying the right amount of nutrients for your spreading. We refer back to that soil test. A lot of times we'll have a lime recommendation. So where do we get that lime recommendation, and why do we need it? The soil test finds a lime recommendation from the pH of the soil. So it's whether it's alkaline, neutral, or acidic. And so what a lot of folks also consider that whether my soil is sweet or sour when we think about that. And so healthy gardens, healthy yards, healthy fields, they need a soil pH to thrive on. And usually between the analysis is a 6.0 and a 7.0. And so if it's below 6.0, that's what they consider acidic. And that comes from your fertilizers, or fertilizers that you buy and put on, or acidic rain can change the pH of the soil. And so these can be raised. You can raise the pH through lime. Now, what lime consists of a lot of times is calcium and calcium carbonate. It can also have some magnesium in it. And those are 2 nutrients that are very useful to plants that are not found in a bag of fertilizer. So when we look at a bag of fertilizer, or a bag of lime, there's some things that we want to look at. And so two things that I look at really quick are the calcium carbonate equivalent. This tells me how good the lime is. And here we're seeing a lime that's 128%. That's off the chart. That's fast acting lime. That's lime that will change the pH pretty fast. The other thing that we look for, in order for lime to work, we want it to be fine. And so there's a measurement, they call them sieve sizes. There's 20, 60, and 100. What I like to look at is the 100. How small is the lime ground finely? And so if you look at this one, 93% of this lime passes through 100 U.S. standard sieve scale. So that tells me that the lime, 93% of this bag is ground really fine. That means you will get action, because limestone, whereas lime is made, is one of the slowest materials to break down. So we want it ground fine to be able to work. Let's pull over to this bag. This one says Polarized Dolomitic limestone. What this Dolomitic means a lot of times is that's lime that is high in magnesium. Dolomite is high in magnesium. So, and you can see that magnesium's 11% in this bag. So let's scroll down there, and we want to find that calcium carbonate equivalent. That tells me this bag is 99%. It's pretty close to 100. So this is really good lime. And then we want to look at the sieve size. If we scroll over to this next section here, let's look at the 100 mesh size. So 70% of this lime goes through the smallest. So when you look at these 2 bags, one of them is ground really fine versus the other bag of lime. So those are some quick links, quick things to think about when you look at a bag of lime, of what you're purchasing, and then you're putting that back to your soil sample. So if that soil sample calls for 10 pounds of lime per 1,000 square foot, then you will know you'll need to look at your analysis of lime and see how that will match in to get that 10 pound of lime on there. And again, what you're doing with this lime is you're changing that soil pH. And all your macronutrients work the best if you can get that soil pH, again, between 6.0 and 7.0. That's where your macronutrients will work the best. So that's why we use lime, is to change the soil pH. There's multiple ways to spread that lime and fertilizer. And so we're going to look at one that's kind of more for a lawn. You can maybe use this on a small garden. And this is just a small push type applicator. As you can see, the wheels will push and spin the spinner here and spread your application. Now, what's key is you really have to kind of calibrate these to figure out how much you're going to put on your garden when you're looking at fertilize, and you refer back to that soil sample and it says put X amount of this product on there, and you figured out your fertilizer application. So in these, there's adjustable places that you can adjust. So you're going to have to calibrate this just a little bit to see how much you're putting on your area. And this can be done very simply by maybe just picking out a small area and putting a small amount of fertilizer in that and spreading that throughout your yard to see how many pounds that you're putting on an area. These can also be used for spreading lime on the yard, and you'll just have to, again, remember how to calibrate this. So you may start off and close it up small to be able to put on a small amount so you can figure out where your spreader is putting the right amount on or not. This is one example for a small yard or garden to spread fertilizer or lime. Here is another example of a fertilized spreader. This one's a little bit for a larger amount of fertilizer you need to spread. As you can see, this one's on wheels. You can pull it behind a lawn garden tractor or a four-wheeler or something to be able to spread. It'll hold a little more material than the smaller yard one. So you may use this one on a larger area. Then again, a key important thing is you got to figure out how to calibrate these to put the right amount on. So it all figures out on how fast you drive that ATV or you drive that tractor when spreading this material. And again, you have to adjust the inside for the amount that it'll put out on these spinners when it spreads the fertilizer. So there's just another example of how you can spread your material on your lawn, garden, or crop field.
Welcome to the West Virginia Department of Agriculture's Homesteading series. In this series, WVDA planning coordinators collaborate with producers around the state to share the most up-to-date information on food prep, raising livestock, self-sufficient living skills, and much more for homesteading in the Mountain State. Their goal is to help people of all skill levels increase their knowledge for sustainable living or expand their farm business. The business development staff work to grow West Virginia agribusinesses and economy. West Virginia has a vibrant ecosystem of communities, small farms, and innovative organizations that support the agricultural economy. Our team's goal is to reach out with tools and partnerships to make potential businesses aware of the services and support the West Virginia Department of Agriculture and its partners can provide. Additionally, the business development team oversees our West Virginia Grown and Veterans and Heroes to Agriculture programs. WVDA planning coordinators act as local liaisons, coordinators, and facilitators helping develop agriculture projects and assist agribusinesses around the state. They participate in economic and business development efforts while addressing food insecurities and building resiliency in local communities. West Virginia Grown is the state's premier branding program for agriculture products. The West Virginia Grown logo indicates to buyers the product was grown and/or processed with quality ingredients in the Mountain State and that their dollars are going right back into their communities. We also offer marketing opportunities for West Virginia producers through our West Virginia Grown program. This program is free, and members gain access to the West Virginia Grown brand logo for labeling use on any eligible products. If you become a member, you'll be included in our producer database, our West Virginia Grown directory, market bulletin, and social media platforms. The business development team also includes the Veterans and Heroes to Agriculture program staff. Their priority is to provide support to veterans, law enforcement, firefighters, and first responders transitioning into agriculture via education, scholarships, mentorship opportunities, marketing, technical and business development support, and navigating available resources. The program seeks to further promote the development of agricultural industries, products, and marketing opportunities across the state.